Hollywood wishes it could tell stories like this. These 20 games don't just have plots, they have moments that stick with you long after the credits roll. From intense drama to mind-bending twists, these games take storytelling to the next level. So forget what you thought you knew. Let's dive into the narratives that leave Hollywood in the dust. Max Payne 3 isn't just about bullets and explosions, it's a descent into madness. Max, now older and worn down, is far from the young, vengeful anti-hero we once knew. He's drowning in guilt, drowning in booze, and frankly, he's trying to outrun a past that refuses to let him go. This game doesn't just tell you Max's story, it lets you feel his anguish. The pacing is relentless. Each chapter feels like a new layer of torment being peeled back. And as Max hunts for a sense of redemption, his wit, sharp, dark, and dripping with sarcasm, cuts through the crushing weight of his reality. The storytelling in Max Payne 3 is steeped in noir, but it isn't just the slow-motion shootouts that keep you hooked. It's the psychological unraveling of Max himself. This is a man chasing ghosts, literally and figuratively, and every firefight, every encounter feels personal. You're not just battling goons, you're battling Max's fractured mind, and that's what makes the stakes feel so damn high. When you think of military shooters, Spec Ops: The Line doesn't immediately come to mind. It's not about glory or heroism. It's a brutal deconstruction of those very ideals. The story revolves around Captain Martin Walker, sent to Dubai on a mission to find a lost battalion. What starts as a simple rescue mission turns into a psychological nightmare. You, as Walker, are dragged deeper and deeper into a moral quagmire, where every decision feels like a step further into the abyss. The soldiers you're sent to save? They're long gone. The real enemy here? The choices you make. Spec Ops: The Line excels at making you uncomfortable. It turns traditional military narrative tropes on their head, asking hard questions about war, trauma, and humanity. But what really sets it apart is its gut-wrenching ending, which makes you question everything you thought you knew about right and wrong. And this isn't just a shocking twist moment, it's a deeply personal reckoning with your own role in the chaos. War is hell, yes, but Spec Ops makes you feel every inch of it. Nathan Drake is a man of action, but beneath all the explosions and daring escapes lies something far more complex. The Uncharted franchise is about adventure, sure, but it's also about the personal costs of chasing that thrill. From the first game to the fourth, Drake's journey is as much about the treasure he seeks as it is about the relationships he's willing to risk. Whether it's the unshakable bond with Sully, the love-hate relationship with Elena, or the fierce rivalry with rival treasure hunters, these relationships breathe life into the world of Uncharted. The beauty of Uncharted is how it balances tension and humor. The quick wit and banter between characters is often a welcome relief after intense shootouts or daring escapes, but it also makes the emotional moments hit harder. You don't just care about Drake's success, you care about his growth, his losses, and the emotional toll this life takes on him. Each game is packed with jaw-dropping action, but it's the moments between the action, the quiet conversations, the heart-to-heart moments that truly resonate. God of War 2018 isn't just a continuation of Kratos' saga, it's a complete reinvention of his character. Gone are the days of mindless destruction and blind rage. Now Kratos is a father, trying to navigate the challenges of raising a son, Atreus, in a world full of gods, monsters, and impossible odds. The game explores what it means to be a father, a mentor, and someone who must reckon with the ghosts of their past. Every step Kratos takes, both literally and emotionally, feels weighted. The story unfolds with the slow burn of a Greek tragedy, as Kratos and Atreus journey across a land filled with gods and mythical creatures. What makes this game so captivating isn't just the visceral combat or breathtaking visuals, it's the emotional journey. Kratos is, at his core, a man struggling with the consequences of his past actions, trying to ensure that his son doesn't repeat his mistakes. The tension between Kratos and Atreus, their clashes, and moments of growth provide some of the most powerful moments in the entire series. And the mythology, it's used as a canvas to explore themes of legacy, responsibility, and ultimately, redemption. A Plague Tale: Innocence takes place in a world ravaged by the Black Death, but it's the relationship between siblings Amicia and Hugo that forms the heart of the story. The world is brutal and unforgiving. Plague-ridden rats swarm the landscape, and soldiers are out to capture them. Yet in the midst of this terrifying backdrop, the game finds moments of tenderness. Amicia's determination to protect Hugo, despite the odds, creates an emotional anchor in a world where hope is scarce. The beauty of this game lies in its pacing. Every moment feels intense, from sneaking through enemy camps to outsmarting the relentless rat hordes. But what truly elevates the experience is how it juxtaposes the harshness of the world with the purity of Amicia and Hugo's bond. Their story isn't just about survival, it's about the lengths we'll go to for family. It's a harrowing tale of innocence lost, but also of resilience, and it's one of the most emotional experiences you'll find in gaming. Mass Effect 2 is more than just a sci-fi RPG. It's a story about sacrifice, loyalty, and the cost of saving the galaxy. Commander Shepard is back, and this time, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Reapers are coming, and the only way to stop them is by assembling a team of misfits, outcasts, and broken souls. But it's not just about the mission, it's about the relationships you build along the way. Each crew member has their own backstory, their own baggage, and their own goals. It's up to you to guide them, keep them alive, and make decisions that could change their fates. Mass Effect 2 is a game about tough choices. Choices that can get your crew killed, or worse, leave you wondering if the galaxy is worth saving at all. Every character you recruit is more than just an asset. They're people, with their own dreams and flaws. The game does a brilliant job of exploring the personal toll of being a leader and the sacrifices that come with it. The tension is palpable, the stakes are galaxy-shaking, and by the end you'll be questioning not just the fate of your team, but your own humanity. Detroit Become Human doesn't just ask you to make choices, it asks you to question the very fabric of your beliefs. In a future where androids have gained self-awareness, you control 3 different characters. Kara, a housekeeper who escapes abuse, Connor, an android detective hunting rogue machines, and Marcus, a leader of a revolution. Each story is its own thread in a web of societal issues, class, freedom, and what it means to be human. What makes Detroit so compelling is its moral complexity. Every choice you make has a ripple effect, and none of them feel easy. You'll constantly find yourself torn between what's right and what's necessary for survival. The game forces you to confront the idea of artificial intelligence not as machines, but as sentient beings capable of suffering and desire. The branching narratives are a masterclass in storytelling, with every decision feeling weighty as if the fate of an entire society rests on your shoulders. The emotional payoff is immense. This is a game that makes you think long after you've put the controller down. The Metro franchise is one of the best examples of how environmental storytelling can elevate a narrative. Set in a post-apocalyptic world where the remnants of humanity live in the tunnels of the Moscow metro system, you play as Artyom, a young man trying to survive in a world where mutants and warlords rule. But it's not just about survival, it's about hope. As you venture outside the metro tunnels, you'll face the horrors of radiation, grotesque creatures, and the remnants of humanity who've lost their humanity in the process. Metro's storytelling is deeply atmospheric. It's a game where silence speaks volumes, and the few conversations you have are steeped in the desperation of survival. The harsh landscapes are a reflection of the mental toll this world takes on its survivors. You're constantly walking a fine line between hope and despair, and every step forward feels earned. The world feels alive, dangerous, and real, one where every corner holds a story, and every shadow hides a threat. Metro isn't just about surviving, it's about finding meaning in a world that's lost it. Batman Arkham City is the perfect game for those who've ever wondered what it's like to be the Dark Knight. But it's more than just a series of brawls with Gotham's most infamous villains. It's an exploration of Batman's psyche. The story takes place in a section of Gotham turned into a massive prison, and Batman must navigate through this chaotic world while uncovering a plot that could destroy the entire city. The beauty of Arkham City lies in its combination of dynamic gameplay and compelling story. As Batman, you're not just solving crimes or taking down bad guys, you're dealing with your own demons, confronting your own doubts about what it means to be a hero. The Rogues Gallery of Villains is as entertaining as it is menacing, but what really stands out is how Batman's motivations are explored. Each encounter with his enemies is more than just a fight. It's a test of his will, his morals, and his commitment to justice. Arkham City doesn't just let you be Batman, it makes you feel like Batman. with all the weight of Gotham's suffering on your shoulders. Death Stranding is not just a game, it's an experience. Created by the legendary Hideo Kojima, this game's story is as surreal as it is profound. Set in a post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious event has severed humanity's connections, you play as Sam Porter Bridges, tasked with delivering packages to reconnect isolated communities. At first, it sounds simple, but as you journey across the desolate, haunting landscapes, you begin to understand the deeper, existential themes at play. The narrative is unconventional, but that's what makes it so captivating. It explores isolation, human connection, and the fragility of society. Every delivery you make feels like a small act of defiance against a world that has been torn apart. The game is both meditative and thrilling, with its slow pace building a sense of dread and wonder simultaneously. The relationship you form with other players, in the form of shared resources and environmental help, reinforces the theme of connectivity. Death Stranding is a game that makes you reflect on what it means to help others, even when the world seems to be collapsing around you. Call of Duty Black Ops redefined what it means to tell a gripping, complex story in the midst of high-octane military action. Set during the Cold War and Vietnam War, these games follow the adventures of Alex Mason, a soldier caught in a covert operation that leads him into a web of espionage, mind control, and betrayal. The story is told through a series of fragmented flashbacks as Mason tries to piece together his own fractured memory. What sets Black Ops apart from other military shooters is how it blends action with psychological depth. The narrative is twisted, full of surprises and shocking moments that make you question what's real and what's manipulation. The political intrigue and covert missions provide the backdrop for a deeper story about loyalty, trust, and the moral cost of war. By the time you reach the end of both Black Ops 1 and 2, you'll be left with a sense of disillusionment, as the line between good and evil becomes more blurred than ever before. Cyberpunk 2077, despite its turbulent launch, stands as one of the most ambitious and narrative-rich games in recent memory. Set in the dystopian world of Night City, you play as V, a mercenary caught up in a web of conspiracy, cybernetic enhancements, and moral ambiguity. The game's story tackles everything from corporate corruption to questions about identity, technology, and what it means to be human in a world overrun by machines. Cyberpunk 2077 offers a truly cinematic experience. The world is richly detailed, filled with complex characters and storylines that intertwine in unexpected ways. As V, you're constantly faced with choices that will shape the future of the city and the people around you. The game doesn't hold your hand. It forces you to navigate a morally gray world where nothing is ever as simple as it seems. From heists to intimate moments of reflection, Cyberpunk 2077 offers an unforgettable narrative journey through a neon-lit, corrupt, and dangerous world. Alan Wake is a masterclass in blending psychological horror with a gripping narrative. You play as Alan, a best-selling author who's come to a small town to escape his writer's block, only to find himself entangled in a nightmare where the line between fiction and reality blurs. His wife, Alice, goes missing, and soon Alan finds himself trapped in a surreal, nightmarish world where dark forces take on physical form. What follows is a descent into madness as Alan unravels not only the mystery of his wife's disappearance, but also the disturbing forces controlling his own mind. The strength of Alan Wake lies in its atmosphere. Every shadow, every flicker of light, and every tense moment is designed to make you question what's real. The story is intricately told, with elements of psychological horror, mystery, and supernatural thriller. The narrative has a dreamlike quality, where Alan's own words seem to shape the world around him. As the story progresses, you'll begin to understand the connection between Alan and the dark forces, and by the end, you'll feel the lingering effects of his unraveling psyche. It's a game that makes you think, makes you feel, and most of all, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Quantum Break is a game where time is both your greatest ally and your deadliest enemy. You play as Jack Joyce, a man caught in an experiment gone wrong that gives him the power to manipulate time. But this ability comes with a heavy price. Time itself is starting to break down, and you must race against it to prevent the collapse of reality. The game's premise is simple, yet incredibly effective. The balance of time is in your hands, and with it, the fate of the world. What sets Quantum Break apart is how it blends cinematic storytelling with interactive gameplay. The game's narrative is deeply tied to its time-manipulating mechanics. You'll stop, slow down, and even rewind time to overcome obstacles, but the real beauty lies in how this power reflects the broader story. Time, in the game's world, isn't just a tool, it's a weapon, a curse, and a mystery waiting to be unraveled. The characters are multi-dimensional, and the choices you make have far-reaching consequences, adding layers of complexity to the already tense narrative. And with live-action episodes woven into the experience, Quantum Break offers a unique way of storytelling that feels both cinematic and personal. Marvel's Spider-Man is a superhero story that feels both fresh and deeply human. You play as Peter Parker, balancing the weight of his responsibilities as Spider-Man with his personal life, relationships, and the everyday challenges of being a young man. From the very first swing through the skyscrapers of New York City, you feel the exhilaration of being Spider-Man. But you also feel the pressure of the responsibility that comes with it. What makes Spider-Man so compelling is how it delves into Peter's emotional journey. Yes, you're saving the city from criminals and supervillains, but you're also dealing with the loss, guilt, and sacrifice that come with the superhero life. The game gives you a deep personal connection to Peter Parker, his struggles with his past, his fears for the future, and his desire to protect those he loves. As you progress, you'll encounter iconic villains like Doc Ock, but it's the emotional stakes, the sacrifices Peter makes, and the growth he undergoes that truly elevate the narrative. It's a superhero game that focuses just as much on the man behind the mask as it does on the action-packed gameplay. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt isn't just a fantasy RPG, it's an epic tale of destiny, loss, and the search for redemption. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter who is searching for his adopted daughter Ciri as she's pursued by a supernatural force known as the Wild Hunt. The game's world is massive, rich in lore, and filled with a plethora of side quests, each one offering a deep, emotional story of its own. What truly sets The Witcher 3 apart is its commitment to telling mature, meaningful stories. Every choice you make has consequences, and the game doesn't shy away from exploring themes of morality, family, and the weight of one's actions. The relationship between Geralt and the other characters, especially Yennefer and Triss, is complex, filled with passion, resentment, and love. And the world itself is a character, alive with politics, war, and ancient secrets that Geralt must navigate. The Witcher 3 offers a narrative that is as deep and intricate as any novel or film, and its emotional depth will stay with you long after you finish playing. Black Myth: Wukong is shaping up to be one of the most promising narrative-driven action games, blending mythology with soul-stirring gameplay. Based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West, you play as Sun Wukong, the legendary Monkey King, as he battles mythical creatures, gods, and demonic forces. But beneath the action and spectacle lies a deeply philosophical story about identity, power, and destiny. What's so captivating about Black Myth Wukong is how it mixes high-flying action with moments of introspection. Sun Wukong's journey is not just one of physical combat, it's about confronting his own limitations and the consequences of his immortality. The game's visual design, based on traditional Chinese mythology, is breathtaking, and the lore is rich with allegorical significance. While the game is still in development, the early footage promises a narrative experience that is both emotionally resonant and visually stunning. It's a game that doesn't just focus on combat. It explores the inner turmoil of its protagonist and the broader mythological themes that shape his world. Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't just a game about cars, heists, and chaos. It's a satire of modern society. The game's narrative revolves around three very different protagonists: Michael, a retired bank robber; Trevor, a psychotic ex-military man; and Franklin, a young man trying to escape the gang life. These three characters are drawn into a series of increasingly absurd and dangerous situations, but the real genius of GTA 5 lies in how it critiques the world around them. The narrative is deeply satirical, taking aim at everything from celebrity culture to corporate greed to the American dream itself. As you play through the game, you'll realize that it's not just about the insane heists or the fast cars. It's about the absurdity of trying to escape your past, the emptiness of modern wealth, and the moral decay of society. Each character has their own personal struggles and their own journey of self-destruction, making their storylines as compelling as the wild ride through Los Santos itself. It's a game that combines dark humor with sharp social commentary, and by the end, you're left questioning whether anyone in this chaotic world can truly escape unscathed. The Last of Us Part 1 is a testament to how video games can push the boundaries of storytelling. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, ravaged by a fungal infection, you play as Joel, a hardened survivor, tasked with escorting Ellie, a young girl who might hold the key to saving humanity. What follows is not just a journey through a ruined world, but a deep, emotional story about the relationships that define us and the sacrifices we're willing to make for those we love. The brilliance of The Last of Us lies in how it blends action with raw, gut-wrenching emotion. The bond that forms between Joel and Ellie isn't just believable, it's palpable. As they navigate through the treacherous remnants of society, their relationship grows, and the choices they're forced to make will leave a lasting impact on you. It's a story of survival, but also of love, loss, and redemption. The game never shies away from the brutality of its world, but at the same time it shows the beauty in human connection, even in the most desperate circumstances. By the end, you'll be left questioning your own sense of right and wrong, and wondering how far you'd go to protect those you care about. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the epitome of open-world storytelling, a game where every moment feels like part of a larger narrative tapestry. Set in 1899, you play as Arthur Morgan, a member of the Van der Linde gang, as it struggles to survive in an ever-changing world. The game takes you on a journey through the American frontier, where you'll face danger, betrayal, and the decline of a way of life. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is much more than a Western. It's a meditation on loyalty, morality, and the passage of time. The game's world is alive with characters who are all struggling to make sense of their place in a world that is rapidly moving on without them. Arthur is a deeply conflicted character, caught between his loyalty to his gang and his own moral compass. As you progress through the story, you'll feel the weight of Arthur's choices and the toll that a life of violence and crime takes on the soul. Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't just tell a story. It immerses you in an emotional experience, where every action, no matter how small, carries consequence. And while the game's narrative is incredibly rich and emotionally powerful, it's the world itself that becomes one of the most unforgettable parts of the experience. From the snowy mountains to the swamps, the details in every corner of the game world tell their own stories. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that will stick with you long after you've put down the controller. An unforgettable exploration of the American dream and the cost of living outside the law. That's it. 20 games that prove storytelling in gaming is on another level. If you haven't experienced these yet, you're missing out big time. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.